Would you mind to please kindly tell us more about your organization, Earth Child Institute?
Okay, so my name is Donna Goodman. I'm the founder of Earth Child Institute, and Earth Child Institute started as an international NGO dedicated to empowering children and the world today, leaders today, for a sustainable tomorrow. And that was back in 2001, 2002, and I've led Earth Child Institute as the only older person for so many years. And just this past year, I've handed over to an international group of young people. So what we've done really amazing work over the years. We established the Swarovski Water School in the Amazon region in Brazil. With 50 or more schools. We have a project called the Global Action Classroom, which is connecting students in schools, children, not youth. You guys are now youth, are the leaders, but Earth Child Institute is really focused on children, and youth working with children specifically has always been the mission. So with youth facilitators in schools, for instance, getting children to talk to other children, Mozambique to Brazil, for instance, because they both speak Portuguese, or Spanish-speaking countries with one another. We've had Ghana with some students in New York, in fact, and India here in Rishikesh as well. We have the water school in Rishikesh as well. So, yeah, is that?
We have more questions. Like we heard yesterday about one child equivalent to one
Yes.
tree. Like, would you mind to explain more about that? Like, how is the current condition of that project?
So that project was started, as I mentioned in the talk yesterday, in 2003 and then 2004. And the idea was it continues to be planting trees in a big way. With the 2.2 billion people on Earth today under the age of 18, if each one would plant 7 trees and take care of it for a year, you could offset net deforestation. Now, I don't know about that today. That figure was from a few years ago. It might be more today, especially with the forest burning everywhere. But so the status of that campaign is that it was launched, and there's a video, it's still in the world, but it never, as I mentioned yesterday, it sort of never has gone viral yet, which is why I've handed over Earth Child Institute, and I'm now focusing on fiction and entertainment media to try another way of reaching masses of children. So my new book, Eco Masters: A Planet in Peril, is about children all over the world, girls in the first book specifically. They start in New York and they go to Malawi and Laos and here in India, and then they have to get to this secret island training center in the Amazon. So I believe that these young people in these countries, that's in only book 1, but as we get to the 5th book, there will be millions. I have always had a little bit of a problem with the Captain Planet or Superman mentality, because I believe that every child is Captain Planet. We all have our own gifts, and we need to bring those gifts. And in my job now, I think for the rest of, in the last quarter of this lifetime, and I think is to help empower and awaken those children so they each have, in the book, they each have different powers. Coral, who is the pathfinder, is able to travel the world through water. She splashes down in puddles in all different places. Phon Pasad, who is in Laos, is able to communicate through the water, and they don't need translators because the water translates for them, as our bodies are all water. Hope in Malawi is able to grow vegetables and fruits. And in Rishikesh, Anguri is her name, and she has the gift of fire and the water from Ganga. And each of them is also dealing with social issues. So, for instance, Anguri has been given early marriage. and discovered her abilities with fire only because of those circumstances. Coral discovered her abilities through a water crisis and heat wave in New York City. So they're all responding to this planet in peril and coming with their own gifts. And the idea is that they get to these training centers, they learn how to use their powers, and they go back and find millions more. And I believe that's the future for our planet, for all of you. You know, I hope all of you will each work with, 3,000 children.
Yeah. Do you have like a little explanation what motivates you to work with the children towards achieving the sustainable development?
And specifically, if you could touch on girls and how you want to reach out to girls.
Yeah. I think that, well, my entire lifetime has been dedicated to the children of the world. I was even myself a single mother of three. And one time in the late 80s, I woke up into the dream that I would be working with adolescent girls. And I thought, oh, this is because of my daughters. But then then UNICEF called me for a job. Then the UN called me for a job. I was just telling another young lady, I never applied for these jobs. I think it's my sole purpose, if you know what I mean. And girls it's a time in the world where the patriarchy is crumbling and the girl power is emerging more and more. And I believe that the girls of the world and boys, the children of the world, have the ability to save humanity. I'm not at all worried. Some people say they're worried about the end of the earth or the earth. I think Mother Earth will be fine. I think, the planet will survive whatever happens, but the human race can go the way of the dinosaurs if they don't stop. And I think that the only way that we can turn that around is with children. I have very little hope for the retraining of adults. Even myself, I used to say 10, 20 years ago, I still like to take a long shower. It was like, sometimes it's too late, for the adults. Yeah.
I guess like one last question, like if you have a chance to deliver your message to the youth all over the world, like in a short time, what would that be?
Yeah, with all the
3-4 lines.
entire
Your age?
climate change,
Our age.
My message to the youth of the world is to take action, to know that you can, and to rise up your younger brothers and sisters and cousins and friends. Because one of the reasons I do this is that I had found when I worked for UNICEF a big disconnect between youth and children. The youth have one agenda and the children are another, and it must be something, when we go through adolescence, we don't want to be children anymore. But I believe that the youth are the best hope for the children and in the world. And so I would ask you all not to give up, to get stronger, and to empower those in your lives as well as you can. And to address climate change. Seriously, don't just plant trees, take care of them. Learn how to make your water safe for drinking. Everyone should know how to make their water safe for drinking. And when I went to the first COP where we had children in Bali in 2007, there was a little boy that we had there from Bali. And he said, well, I know that we will survive much better than you people will survive in the United States. And I said, well, why is that? And he said, because I know how to live in the forest. I know what to eat, and I know how to make the water safe for drinking. And that's the wisdom that, I see that you guys have the opportunity to bring forward. So I hope that helps. Does it help?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.